speak. So we're brought up with a real world problem, and we're gonna have to find a solution. And our problem that we found was streets and potholes. So our solution is plastic roads.
Plastic roads, basically, we have a video to show, and plastic roads, basically what we want to do is recycle plastic and make them into roads useful so that we can have better roads than the ones we actually have. So if we do this, then plastic roads would be very less money, and also that it would cause less potholes. So that because potholes
are usually due to weather and inclement weather like water and snow. So plastic roads, they're more durable and they also absorb water.
And when potholes create, then there's a lot more incidents since a lot more people are driving.
Yeah, because we're in an urban community, so we have work a lot and there's cars coming everywhere. So potholes, they really can create car crashes and incidents, and yeah, people could get killed.
Yes. And show the video.
Yes. It's a very interesting, really. So in other words, yeah, you can do that later. But so in other words, instead of use of plastic for the landfill, they use the plastic for the recycled creative material for the road, plastic road.
Michigan does it for their road repairs.
Yes.
And it's better for the environment because then we wouldn't have to waste plastic waste because it's very bad for the environment. So instead, we can use them for the roads and it'd be very useful. So
plastic doesn't dissolve.
The whole road? I missed the beginning. For the whole road or just to fill
You can resurface
So
road with
whole
plastic.
road.
Wow.
Yeah, so build.
The state of
Wow,
Michigan does all their
interesting.
street resurfacing
I've
with
never
plastic.
heard of
Right,
this
okay, show it to them.
before.
Okay, so show it to her,
Wow.
Ivan. So she's gonna be showed that to everybody. Okay, you can zoom. Okay, so she's got it. Yep.
And so that's our presentation that we'd like to share with you guys.
It's interesting.
And
Yes. So
Thank you very
actually, she make a talk about it. If you use a plastic road, and one of your major concerns, stormwater management, much easier. Even though utility line is now like a spaghetti line all over the place, is to bury under the ground. You know what I'm saying? And also repair, of course, is much cheaper than, and less potholes. So those kind of idea they have, and actually a couple of different states already tried, and the different countries already tried it. They're very successfully did, and the cost is cheaper to build up that. So if you look at it's like a 5 years a term, the maintenance cost, so on. So this is cheaper. But most cases, city of Jersey street every 10 to 15 years we have to repaving. We spend millions and $1 million per year.
Yes.
But if you use that kind of a technique, probably much less maintenance costs. It's a safer street. Not only that, as I said, stormwater management much easier, utility management easier, all kind of things work. So they try to convince us that any new road cities build, they should be tried as a pilot program as a plastic road.
Huge issue worldwide with recycling, and where the actual end market for recycling is. A lot of recycling facilities are having a hard time being able to push the recycling forward into other materials. The United States is doing its best to take our recyclables and create them, as you know, into clothing, into our shoes, into many different types of other materials. But because of the worldwide issue that we have, a lot of our cities are recycling we're recycling type 1s, type 2s, depending on the facility on who takes our recyclables is what other recycling market we can push forward as an education. Jersey City is still in a RFP process of trying to establish an actual recycling end market for our material. So our paper currently right now we have a month-to-month agreement with All American. Our paper and cardboard goes there. Our co-mingle, which is your cans, your plastic bottles, and glass, goes to Sims Metal, but they're not the company who is where the recycling is going to stay for, let's say, for the next 4 to 5 years, because we're still at that process. So right now, that is the reason why Jersey City is only recycling type 1, type 2. No caps, no lids. Which is majority of our plastics in our household anyways. But I'm at the point, because recycling has plummeted so bad, that I want everyone to continue to recycle, but it's more of the reuse because of what's happening worldwide. We should be using more materials like this, that not use plastic bottles, use more filters in your homes, and not buy bottled water. Although we recycle them, but we have such a huge issue right now worldwide.
Do we have any statistics, like how much
Recycling?
gets recycled?
In Jersey City?
Do we have like
We are right
goal
now.
or any goals for like reducing how much
Absolutely,
is?
there is.
Okay.
So, we've recycled right now within the last report that I just got back. Let me see, hold on, because I had the paper with me and I had to run to another meeting and I think I left it in my other car. But we do have numbers for recycling. Of Jersey City recycles. We've recycled every year. This year we're 7% more than what we did last year. And
I don't know if that's better or worse, because it's
No,
like, are we
it's actually-
generating more stuff, or
right,
are we,
which is why I lean
more
towards
successful?
to the reusing than
Yeah.
actually continuing to keep buying plastics. Because although we are sending it to, let's say, Sims Metal now has to find a market for this. And they have to push it forward, which also increases why Jersey City has to pay now to recycle. When recycling before was a commodity. It's not a commodity right now because of what the worldwide issue that we're having. Yes.
The next thing is, how many more people do we have living in the city?
Well, we're in the process of doing the garbage contract, and that's going to give me a ballpark rough figure by February. We'll know how
That
many
might
more
be why
buildings
we have the increase too.
we have. That definitely is from how many more. Well, look at the amount of high rises that have come
Yeah.
up within the last 5 years, which is when the
So you might
recycling
be
facility was done.
at status quo.
Yeah, we are, but we still need to recycle more.
Do we analyze like people's regular trash at all
Yes, we
to
do.
see like how much recyclable stuff is ending up in the regular trash?
Well, it's not even so much of what recyclable stuff is ending up in the regular trash. We also have a lot of things in the recycling bucket that's not recyclable.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
yeah,
true
right.
too. Yeah.
We have wishful recyclers because type 1, type 2, a lot of your 99-cent stuff that you buy is not type 1, it's a type 5.
Yeah.
So some of those bottles, and some of them are not even labeled. Like, I don't see a label on this,
Right.
although
No.
I'm sure this is a type 1.
No, I even have friends
But
who
I don't see-
who
oh, I
didn't
see
really
here, it's on
know
the side.
that there are like people
It's
are
one.
sort of seem to be supposedly conscious of things, like they didn't even know there are different numbers.
Yes,
of
there is-
types
that
of
is-
plastic.
That is a big issue. It's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
folks do not know that,
Yeah.
which is why I've asked many block associations to, when they have their meetings, to allow me to come in, but I have to wait for the invitation. I go to every pop-up that we can possibly go to. We update our website because we will. Of course, the city wants to recycle more, but
Right.
you're limited to where you're recycling.
Well,
is-
and if
is the
ultimately
end.
it's not ending up getting reused, then what, if it's just going and being burned in Malaysia or Vietnam or something, why are we doing it? I mean, it's sort of like not really, it's not really ending up really being recycled.
I have one question. I moved about 3 years ago from New York City, which does recycle more. Is that because
They have a facility.
They have a facility.
So
And
New
it's
York-
New York,
yeah.
so we're not.
New
we
York
couldn't
has
use that.
many, like Jersey City, though we go out for an RFP depending on who bids for the recycling, is who wins. Obviously the lowest bid is who takes it, and now that you have to pay for it, you're completely, it's like apples and oranges now. But New York City is able to do that because of who takes their recycling. Now, New York has several locations where their recyclables go, because Sims is one of them. They also have a state-of-the-art facility in New York City. They have so many other companies that are recycling plastic bottles, cans, paper, cardboard. And they also have a very successful composting program, which we just started last year, which we've been very successful in. We've been able to compost. We've been able to take out of the waste stream about over 5 tons during our pilot program, which was only in the community gardens, which was about 6 community gardens, 5 tons of garbage. I mean, not garbage of
Compost.
of organics
Yeah.
going
Food
into the
waste, yeah.
composting creating into compost is a big deal. So we are definitely trying other things, and you'll start to see other conversations on composting on a larger level because we had so many people buy into it, as well as we have we've received, that's just for the community gardens. We've also were able to do a backyard composting program, which we have about 80 residents participating in it right now. So we have a lot of residents who are interested in doing more to be able to help with the recycling and removing waste from the waste stream.
So, okay, go ahead.
And I find the paper bags totally useless. So I used to collect, let's say if I went to ShopRite, because their bags were strong, I just saved them. I have a whole big thing hanging in my kitchen with all kind of plastic bags, because when I go to the store, like I'm going to get toilet paper, right? I need this big one. This is a huge thing. Because trying to carry that on my arms, that's difficult if you're a senior. So you need some plastic, but a lot of people don't reuse them. I use them as garbage. The ones that are thin, like Walmart, I use them as trash. And I have always have, because to promote paper bags is nice, but when the rain come or if you have frozen food or whatever, it doesn't work.
We're not leaning so much to promote paper bags. It's more of a reusable bag and not the paper bags, because you're right. If you're raining and you hit a storm and you have a paper brown bag with you,
It's gonna be all over.
you're gonna be in trouble if you don't have a car where you're running to. It's more of the reusable bag, because plastics doesn't only hurt. Obviously, they're flying into our trees, they're flying into the ocean, they're creating a nuisance, and they're also not environmentally friendly. But it also creates a huge problem when you're going to take that, you're taking your garbage or you're putting recycling in plastic bags when you're on the conveyor belt. You're jamming those conveyor belts up, which you're stopping the process, you're hurting machinery.
No, I use it for trash. We have separate, I live in a
Right, but
farm house.
you're using it responsibly, right? You know what I mean?
Well, I've been growing up, I grew up that way.
Right,
to
but
do
most
it.
people don't do that. So.
Like this one, we made it.
Good idea.
Very cute.
Yep. That's the good one.
You know, they carry.
Well, like I bought these from Stop and Shop, and I just carry 2 or 3 in every purse.
And
I
after
bunch of
you
these, I
finish
just fold them
shopping,
up and carry them in every
you fold it.
purse.
Does the city still have
Yeah.
these
Um,
to give away?
we gave away all we had with our budget, but I know that different departments do sometimes create more material,
I have a couple
including
of the black ones and a
Department of
couple of the
General
green
Services.
ones.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll be ordering more in January.
So
You
like
just
that,
have to remember to put it in your purse or put it in your pocket
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, now,
you like this
like
one?
you always check, you got your money,
The back.
your
I
phone.
need-
because
These,
my wife carry like a
Great.
2,
Yes.
3.
and a lot of, they carry
When
a
they
lot of
go on
weight.
vacation,
Yes,
I
they
put
do.
a- I've
she
done a
always
lot of
carry
them.
this one.
Yeah, I carry
Because
it in
when you go there
backpack.
vacation, you buy something, you know what I'm saying? Oh,
Pocketbook.
luggage that for she put it in.
Yep, pocketbooks, everything. But I just find this is easier, because this is the reusable ones.
And
that they
actually,
sold, so I bought.
you know, when we do that, as politics make something, they want to make sure their name is a print, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of that, so don't feel bad, but, okay, here, give to one of us, yeah. You want?
Yeah.
So,
I
thank
got a
you.
whole bunch of them. I collected
Very nice. Yeah, so we're
All right, no, you
definitely
take it.
working towards other initiatives, not only obviously regular recyclables with your plastic bags. I mean your plastic cans, glass, and paper and cardboard. We are working towards other initiatives with composting, and we're working with our schools as well, because we have kids. Lincoln High School has a composting program. 17 has a composting program. PS5 is going to start a composting program now. So we're working along with the schools and our residents to further educate and make sure that we're doing as much as we can to increase our numbers. And
Just
When
repeat
I-
real quick the number or size of homes or buildings again that you want to where, is there a delineating line between who can use the plastic and who can't?
well, we're
Or-
we're in the process of amending the ordinance now, along with other, not only myself but with the rest of our team at DPW. But I'm looking for it to be anywhere above 4 families. 4
Okay.
families and above. If they have a lot of recyclables, you don't want to have to bring out like 20 cans.
Right.
You should put it in a clear plastic, and our
Okay.
contracting company will slice it open.
Good.
But
That's gonna help.
plastic is not supposed to be in.
Good, we'll get the
recycling
word out.
at
Thank you.
all.
Okay.
Your person here? Catherine, you are the one. Would you explain to your department? A lot of people, your department is actually new things, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's actually an office, there's just 2 of us, and the Office of Sustainability is, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, what we do is we look sort of at the big picture. at sustainability issues, on environmental issues, on the way that the city is using its resources and what its policies are and how those relate to the environment and whether or not we're doing as much as we can and how we can improve. So that's really what we do. We work with all sorts of departments. We have interdepartmental meetings, and we collaborate in order to make sure that that any kind of new concepts about how to be more sustainable and more environmentally conscious are becoming a part of city operations, and then also looking at the bigger picture. So we have some really great initiatives that we've been working on. One of them is we were involved with the creation of the ordinance for the plastic bag ban, as well as the educational outreach efforts for that. So I know that I came here to discuss the plastic bag ban. I know I went to your organization to do that as well. Caroline and I tried to get out to as many neighborhood associations and community events as possible, just to make sure that people knew about it and what it meant, to clarify any concerns that people had. Another initiative that we work on was the Sustainability STEAM Challenge, which is a collaboration with the Jersey City Public School System, and it is basically an incorporation of sustainability into their curriculum through K through 12 students, and they have a different theme every year depending on what the theme is for the Office of Sustainability. So last year was Sustainable Neighborhoods, but this year. Next year is climate action, and so the students are going to be coming up with projects that relate to that, and they form teams and then sort of figure out how to create a solution for that using science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, so STEAM. And we have a really great event in May or April that is the culmination of that, where the students that are sort of the top of each school come and then they compete against each other. And they get to give presentations about their projects before a board of people made up of members of the public school system, as well as some professionals within the field and city government representatives. So I know that we had a council person on the judge panel last year, and we'd love to have you on, about ways that they can become more sustainable in their own homes and things that they can do, as well as what's going on with the city. So for example, this brochure we did for 2017, which was the Year of Energy, and it talks about energy within the state of New Jersey, and then it talks about things you can do in your own home to reduce your energy use. It uses information about transportation and how that relates to energy. And then information about, for example, you may not know, but 8% of Jersey City residents are actually walking to work. And 47% of Jersey City residents use public transportation for their primary commuting mode. So that's really interesting. Information about LED light bulbs. So, we have a different initiative every year. This past year, we collaborated with some students at Montclair State University to do a greenhouse gas emissions inventory, which is the first comprehensive inventory that was done for the city. And this is basically a look at all of the greenhouse gas emissions that are produced within the city of Jersey City, and some that aren't produced within but relate to Jersey City. For example, our waste emissions from waste usually come from when they're in the landfill and they're emitting methane as they're decomposing. So our waste actually goes to out of state. But even we can still capture that through protocol that is standard across the world that we follow. So we created this report that includes information on all of the greenhouse gas emissions inventory within the city and what they mean by sector, and then also what that means for the city and what it means for going forward if we want to reduce them. So we created these, and they're all available on our website. So the reason why we wanted to do a greenhouse gas emissions inventory was because it is part of the requirement, and it creates a baseline for the city's goals for reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. In 2015, City Council, I'm not sure if you were on the council at that time.
What year is it?
In 2015.
2015? Yeah.
Okay.
What's the matter with you? So I served since 2013.
I wasn't here.
Oh, you wasn't here. That's
I
what I'm
wasn't
saying. It's
here.
not my
I-
fault, your fault.
It's my fault. I was not here until 2016. So in 2015, the council
Yeah.
passed a resolution saying that the city of Jersey City was going to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. In order to make progress on that goal, we needed to know the baseline because it's 80% of what year, of what emissions. So we figured out what the emissions were for the year of 2016, which was the farthest past we could go, based on the data that was available. And then looking at, well, what will that mean with population increase? How will that change? How will greenhouse gas emissions increase? And then what do we need to do to make them decrease to meet these goals? The city of Jersey City also, in addition to that commitment that it made, it's also joined in with other cities and communities around the world to commit to the the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy. And so through that, we've committed to do our greenhouse gas emissions inventory to global standards, and to also create a plan going forward for how to reduce our emissions and to make measurable action towards that. So this fall, we started off with our climate action planning process. We had our first public meeting on November 7th, I believe, and it was well attended. It was a great event. And we plan to go out to any community organization that would like to have us to continue to talk about these issues. And we did a presentation about, what is climate change, what is a climate action plan, what do the greenhouse gas emissions inventories say, and we also created some other materials for that I'm going to pass out. So the first one is just a one-pager about the climate change and how it affects Jersey City and New Jersey, and then the back of the page talks about what we're doing for that. So that was one of the first things. We also created a survey, and this is our first survey. We're planning to do a second survey just to get information from people about how they feel about climate change, so we sort of understand, get feedback from people about what their concerns are and what they're interested in seeing as far as change. All of our materials are available on the city website, on the JC Make It Green website, which is separate from the city, but it can be connected to from there, which is the URL is on that page. And we have a page completely committed to climate action. It includes the digital copy of this document as well as the digital copy of all of our resolutions that relate to climate change and any commitments that the city has made either by council or by the mayor through proclamation. And we also have all the materials from our first public meeting. One other thing I wanted to talk about was that we created this thing called a meeting in a box. So we know that not everybody can come to our meetings. We know that maybe people don't want to necessarily talk about these issues in a public setting. Maybe they just want to have some friends over, maybe some people that they know through church, maybe just, to get together with a glass of wine, whatever you want. But to kind of just have all the materials available. Again, this is all digital. You don't have to have physical copies, but we did make it so that if people are interested.